Today we're talking about the tooltip component, and it's pretty simple really. This should go pretty quick. There's one real method that you have to have, and that's set tooltip method, and then the isBalloon just makes it kind of cooler. And I set active and show always just because it seemed like a good idea to set those, but probably doesn't matter. And then there's 4 delay properties: reshow delay, initial delay, auto pop delay, and automatic delay. And it sounded like those would be useful for controlling the timing of the tooltip, but basically I couldn't see that they made any change in the way the tooltip worked, but they made a big change in the way the program ran. In fact, they greatly slowed down the way the program ran. So my basic advice for this video is don't use any of these delay properties. Once again, we're looking at the program we've been using for about the last 3 videos. Not so much to demonstrate doing a restore anymore, but to show how the tooltip can be used. And one way you can use it is you can just drag a tooltip over to the form, and it puts the tooltip in the component tray. I put it directly on the form because I'm a little insecure that I'll associate it with this actual control. You can do tooltips just by selecting the control, and usually there's a tooltip property that you can set directly. But in this case, we're going to use a generic tooltip and associate it with whatever controls we want. So if we go to the code behind and the form load, well, before we do that, one thing we should do is give this a more meaningful name. So let's go over and name it TT for tooltip, and then just call it tooltip, since it is pretty generic the way we're using it. And then in the form load event, probably right at the beginning would be the best place, we can just put the code I was talking about in the intro, which is tooltip set tooltip, and then you have the name of the control that you want to have a tooltip on, and then a string that pops up whenever the user hovers his mouse over the control. So I have the list box drives, the text box count, the list box files, and the text box for top directory. And then I set the isBalloon to true because I think the isBalloon tooltip looks cooler, looks like a cartoon balloon. And then basically I set active and show always to true just because it seems like a good idea to set those to true. You do want it active and you do always want it to show. And I commented out all these delays that I was originally experimenting with, because as I say, they don't seem to change the way the tooltip works at all, but they slow the program down to about 1/3 speed. So if we save this and compile and run it, and then we put our cursor over the different controls, you see the tooltip we specified pops up, and it's pretty cool, very helpful. But to be honest, I wouldn't do it this way at all. I'd always put labels on the form so the user knows what he's looking at, and then I use the tooltip to have a more elaborate explanation of how it works, especially for controls where it's not clear how to use it. Well, one last point is you could just delete this, and then in the code behind say tooltip TT tooltip equals new tooltip, and you see all the errors I got when I deleted it disappeared. And basically this is just another way you can specify a tooltip in code rather than dragging a component over. It's really a matter of taste, although I prefer this if you're not going to actively change it in terms of the form property pane. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot, and I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe.